We are excited. Dude, okay? We're pumped. And what we're going to unveil and reveal and propose is super exciting. I want to call this, and you might have seen it in the bulletin, but we're calling this like project/campaign. Oh, don't go to landscape mode. There we are. Growing into our future, okay? Growing into our future. Proverbs chapter 23, verses 17 through 18. The author writes, "Let not your heart envy sinners. Continue in the fear of the Lord all day. Surely there is a future, and your hope will not be cut off." I love that. You know, my first series last year, at this time we first arrived here, was all about the next chapter at Oso Creek Church. And there's been a lot of things done this past year, and I'm super excited about this year, and I'm super excited about the next 10 years, the next decade for this church. So what we're talking about this morning is not a one-off. It's not, here's a campaign, here's a project, we get it done, we're done. No, we're looking at a decade, and I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. But this is just the first steps of what we want to see happen over the next decade. Does that make sense, everybody? That's why we're kind of growing into our future, because we want to grow. Okay? We want to grow. Now, our vision is we want this to be a place where every family, every person, every adult, every child experiences spiritual formation, which is discipleship, and everyone feels the manifest presence of God. Because when you feel God's presence, you're changed. You can look at all examples of the Bible. When someone experiences God's presence, they are changed forever. So that's our vision. And we do that, we accomplish this by, it's a growing in Jesus, growing in community, and being on mission, okay? We achieve the vision by doing the mission. And the mission is all about growth, gang. The mission's all about growing in the Lord. It's even in there. Growing in Jesus, in community, and on mission. It's all about growth. Everybody agree with that? Yeah? It's about growth, okay? If we're not growing and expanding, I got to transition from preaching, speaking to my notes here. If we're not growing and expanding as a church, then we have plateaued, and in essence, we're going backwards. And I want you guys to understand that as we launch this, okay? And we're never going to stand for that at Oso Creek. We don't ever want to plateau, and we don't ever want to go backwards, okay? Already, and the staff and the leadership, we have had multiple meetings about what we're talking about today, all these things, okay? Already, we have outgrown this building as it is. Not just this worship space, but I'm talking about all the classrooms, all the space that is here. It's been here for 25 years, okay? Has this building been here 25 years or just the church? 21 years has been in this building? Okay. We've already outgrown it, okay? We've often noticed last year that quite a few of the Oso Kids classes have been maxed out. Especially when we have big Sundays, the classrooms are maxed out. It's hard for multiple ministries to use our spaces at the same time, on evenings or days due to space limitations. So like there's something going on, it's hard for somebody else to use this or that. There's a lot of crossover. The student ministries do not have their own space that is adequate for that ministry to grow and thrive. I don't know if you don't have a teenager, you might not know that, but our students, they outgrew one of the little classrooms, and so now they meet here in the worship center every Wednesday night, and it's huge, okay? There's no cry room for newborn babies and moms, and there are, how many women in our church right now? 3 or 4 that are pregnant, and we have no cry room. So we just say, hey, go have your cigarette outside in the lobby and watch your kid. That's not our attitude. Just kidding. We don't strike that from the video, from the record. No. Just kidding. No, but what we say, we have a nursery that's way around the corner, but you can't be a part of the service because your kid's crying, okay? The kitchen is very inadequate. How many have known that for a long time? Okay. We have a very inadequate kitchen, all right? There's no space for any real type of college ministry. One thing that, and I'm just going over some needs that we've been talking about as leadership. There's too much room in here for 2 services, and if you listen to me, okay? People are already opining and requesting a later service. They really are. They really are. We know of families who are not coming because we don't offer a later service, okay? But here's the thing. If we move to 2 services right now, each service would feel so very empty because this space is super large, okay? The MDO Christmas program that was just held, the parking lot was full. People were parking in the grass. But yet there was still a lot of empty spaces in here, okay? Why I say that is this. Growth is hindered by a building that looks empty, okay? And me and Megan have seen it firsthand. We've seen, especially in our last church, when we were really trying to grow it those first few years, people come in, the building looked empty, it felt empty, and we just never saw them again. People like to come to buildings that's full. They say there's an 80% occupancy thing that's a stat that's going around there, okay? This project that we're unveiling is going to help with this, and you'll see why in a minute, okay? So, I spent the last year observing and listening and talking to many needs have come up, regarding our current space that we're here now. So the leadership, like I said, we've met multiple times. We have prayed. There's been a lot of prayer. We've had a lot of discussions, some very late night. We feel like we've come up with a plan that we feel best addresses all of these current needs that we have, and yet it still launches us towards our future, okay? And it's interesting. I drive down Yorktown Boulevard now, and you know what I see everywhere? Growth. I see growth everywhere. New buildings, new expansion, new things coming up. We're waiting on an appraisal right now. The city wants to take a whole bunch of our frontage property to expand Yorktown Boulevard. And I think right now is the prime time to start doing some growth metrics and some growth things. I think it's good for the community, and guess what? I think it's good for us here at the church, okay? Yeah. And so, before we get moving on, I just wanted to give this little preface to everybody. As we talk, I want you to remember and think that the things that's become really obvious to Megan and I, we've spent this past year here, is some of these things we're talking about today, we think should have already been done. And we ask ourselves, I want you to ask yourself this: if not now, when, okay? And if not this, then what? Okay? And as staff and leadership, elders, we've kind of went over those questions as well. If not now, then when? If not this, then what? Okay? And if you're not aware, many of you are brand new to this congregation over the last year, just like we are. But if you're not aware, that we sit on a debt-free campus. Praise God. Debt-free. We have no mortgage. No mortgage. Okay? We are not in any debt. This project is not going to incur any debt. Please hear me, okay? We'll talk about this more later, but we currently have $317,800 in savings. There's approximately $65,000 in a general savings, and the church sold some land behind us that paid off the debt, and there was an excess of $252,000 that is in the savings right now, okay, that's been in there for some time, all right? So like I said, we're not going to go into debt into any of this project. So I just wanted to lay the foundation and the groundwork. I could have spent another hour talking about that. But what I want to do is, Stacy, who's our children's pastor, is going to come up. She's going to walk you through, what we've kind of come up with that we feel addresses our current needs now, but yet also launches us into the future. And then as we go into that future, this whole space and what we're doing now is going to have huge dividends even in year 3 and 4 and 5, 6, especially year 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? So we're going to grow into our future. All right, Stacey, if you want to take it. Otherwise,
Okay, so we are so excited about this, and I'm sure you're all wondering, what are we going to do? So we are basically walking down a path that is going to utilize the space we currently have just in a way that is going to meet some of these needs that Greg was talking about. So, slide 1. We started with, this is our current floor plan. And we sat down and I kind of looked at it, and as we all talked and we decided, what is our biggest need? Which ministry needs our most attention? And we all decided that our youth ministry needed our attention and our efforts. And so this all started as a project, as a way to get our youth their own space, because our youth, if you guys don't know, is growing, which is amazing. And so we wanted our youth to know that they are valued, that we want them here, that there is a place for them here. And so we were like, we looked at this and we said, this room is just too big. Nobody likes to walk into a room and feel small, which is kind of what happens when there's only 2 people and Jonathan here on a Wednesday waiting for everybody to show up. So we didn't want them to have that feeling. So we wanted them to have their own space. So we looked at the rooms we had and we said, we're going to give them the biggest room we have, which is currently room A. So we're going to give the youth that room. But unfortunately, if we give them that room, that means that the baby rockers that are in there, the changing tables, our youth aren't going to use those. So those have to go somewhere else. And so it just kind of snowballed into this project of where are they going to go? But we didn't stop at that, because once we said we'll give the youth this room, we stopped and we thought and we prayed and we said, that room fits our youth right now. If that's all the space that our youth get, they are at capacity right now. There's nowhere for them to grow. And we can't bring them back in here because this is still too big. So we got together and we looked and we prayed and we decided, you know what? The best option to give our youth as much space as they need so that they can grow and they can utilize the area that we have is to give them an additional building right outside that back door. So the youth are getting an awesome recreational building and a meeting space. So our youth now know that they have a space, that they belong at OSO, that we care about them and we want them here. So we are very excited. The youth are going to get this external building. It's not going to be attached. There's a lot of history that goes into this, but basically know that it is cheaper for it to not be attached. There's no plumbing out there. It's just electrical, so we're keeping the cost low, but still giving them a space that is very highly utilizable. It's totally a word. And that is close to their meeting room so they can go back and forth. And there's just a lot of potential there. If you want to know what's going to happen, Jonathan and Lauren have been dreaming about this, praying about this. They have amazing plans for what this is going to look like. So if you want to know specifics, you can go see them and they will give you all of their hopes and dreams that they're going to do with all this space, which is amazing, and our youth are going to love it. So our youth are taken care of, which is awesome. We've given them the space they want, the space they need to grow. We're going to grow with our youth and go that way. But again, we got back to the point of where do we have our babies and our toddlers? Right now, there's 2 classes that occupy that big room because that room is so large. So we have 2 classrooms that we now need to move into a different part of the building. So walk with me now. Our babies are not big, so they get the next smallest room we have, which is currently right there. But that is currently utilized as my office, which if anybody has walked down there, it's not so much an office as a mini Hobby Lobby. So we need somewhere for all of that stuff that we use for our OSO kids classes and activities and all the events and everything. All that stuff has to go somewhere. So we've taken out one room, but we've created another problem. We only have one room that has a bathroom in it for our kids, and that is this corner room. So the logical choice to put our classrooms would be our 2- and 3-year-olds. That is prime potty training age. They need that bathroom right there. So our 2- and 3-year-olds are going to get the room with a bathroom, because trying to put in plumbing anywhere with a solid concrete slab is just astronomically, outrageously unpractical. So we're not adding plumbing anywhere. We're just moving people around to utilize the space as best we can. So we're just adding space by moving people around. But we get to a problem where we still need more rooms. We need more space to hold all of the kids that we have. And that's a great problem to have. And luckily, we have space to hold them. We just don't have it built yet. So our plan is going to be to add some walls inside this room to reclaim some space from where it's not being used and turn it into functional, usable space for everybody. So you guys might have noticed there's some tape on the ground. We've been moving some chairs closer in to let you know this is generally what the plan is going to be. We are going to add walls and create some space and reclaim some space that's in the sanctuary. And we're going to utilize that and turn that into functional, usable space for classrooms, for meeting rooms. And like I said, my office stuff, my mini Hobby Lobby, has to go somewhere. So we are going to reclaim some space from this sanctuary. I forget where we go next. Great, okay. So if you kind of look around, I'll kind of walk you through what our thought process here is for these areas that we have. We don't have a place for new moms to go if new moms are nursing or need to change a diaper or don't want to miss the service. We're going to create a cry room where there's sound piped in. You can still see everything but still be a part of the service. But if you need some privacy for a new mom, there's a new space for that, or dad if they need to go change a diaper. So we're going to utilize the current unused booth. We're moving the light switch. For those who are interested, we will move that light switch over. So all of the light switches will be now behind our media booth, and that will be converted into kind of a cry room, mostly sound dampening as much as we can afford, and then some chairs and changing tables and whatnot. So that will be part of that space. On that side of the building, we're also going to be creating a classroom. So now all of our kids in all of our kids' classrooms have their own designated classrooms. And it will also allow us to create a multi-purpose, flexible meeting room. Tables, chairs, so if a life group needs to meet somewhere, or if you have a meeting and you need some like neutral place to meet, if you're selling something on Facebook, I don't know what you're gonna use it for. But it's an option, it's a flexible meeting room to be utilized by you guys for whatever you need it for. If you need a quiet place on a Sunday morning because your kid doesn't wanna go to class, you don't wanna sit here, the cry room's busy, you can go sit in the meeting room. Like it's gonna be useful for everybody, so as we need it, it will be available to us. And then on the other side, this one's a bit of a bigger change. Most of this side is going to be turned into an office area. I don't say room because this is going to be kind of a bullpen style office. So Elizabeth currently has her own office. We're going to be reclaiming some of that space for a different project. We'll talk about that in a minute. My office, we saw earlier, was already taken away, so Elizabeth and I will be moving into this space. All of Hobby Lobby will be coming with us, and there's room to add future staff as we need it. So again, this project is all about growth. This project is all about the future, and so we wanted to create a space where we could add more full-time staff and give them a place to work and function so that we could continue to grow God's kingdom here. So that whole area is going to be super busy, but amazing. You may have noticed the coffee area. So this is kind of one of the bigger changes and one of the more impactful ones for not only us, but also our guests as they're coming in and visitors that are visiting. Our lobby has been the same size, the same crowded, the same stop. Like it's not easy to walk through when there's lots of people out there. So creating an inviting entry for our guests, for our visitors, for people who are coming, a place where we can gather around the coffee and not feel like we're interrupting worship. If you get here late and you need a cup of coffee, you can go get some without feeling like, oh, should I go? They know I'm late. It's okay. It's fine, because we're going to move the coffee from inside the worship area to now outside. So we're basically going to be inverting the walls, and the coffee area will now be outside of the sanctuary. In doing that, we are going to be creating space in the lobby. But we thought that's not enough, because you walk in those doors, there's that big, harsh angle. That lobby is still closed off. So how could we open up the lobby and really create a very inviting space? So the way that we're going to do that is we're actually going to angle that wall, create more lobby space, and move some of those walls around. So you can see, if you kind of like orient yourself, you're standing at the doorway, you're looking to your left as you walk into the lobby, and that's what you will be able to see. You'll be able to see the classroom doors at the end of the hallway. You'll be able to see the coffee area. We'll have little bistro chairs, or bistro tables and chairs, a place for maybe our college kids from the campus that need to come over on a Tuesday afternoon for a quiet place to work and have free Wi-Fi. They can come sit in our coffee area and utilize the space. We know that there's potential with everything that we're doing, with every wall that we're building, with every chair we're putting in. We've prayed over it, and we know that God is going to use it to glorify his kingdom in some way. So if we do move this wall, that means Greg's office gets decreased. Greg needs an office, guys. He needs some place to close the door and focus. So we're going to take out our current kitchen wall, the wall between Greg's office and the kitchen. We're going to take that out. That whole space will become an area that we are going to convert into a functional, usable kitchen. There will be an oven, there will be a refrigerator, there will be counter space to prep things, there will be a refrigerator to store things. It's going to be a place. We know we have so many ministries that operate around food. To not have a kitchen seemed like we were not serving so very well. So we thought that we needed to put in some effort into our kitchen and beef that up a little bit. So we are expanding our sink so you can wash dishes, Barbara. You're welcome. And it's going to be a really great place. And then next to that, which is currently Elizabeth's office, that will convert into Greg's office. So Greg gets his own office with his private door, and then the rest of us will be huddled together in the bullpen. So this is not to scale. I made this, so this is not our architectural drawing. But this is kind of the finished piece with the walls where they approximately will go. There's a few more details on here, what the classrooms are used for. MDO also uses these classrooms, so we really put a lot of thought into how they can use it, how their program could grow with these new spaces as well. And so we wanted to share this with you. So that's all I got.
Yes, yes. Everything we've talked about, there's a purpose behind it. I feel like there's a direction behind it. And let me talk, before we get to the project cost, remember, no debt, okay? No debt. But, so I've challenged the leadership. I'm looking, as a lead pastor, and Meg and I, we've done a lot of talking. We're looking at this thing, as the next decade, okay? And can you see how, and we're only talking about coming in, you can see the tape, that's 17 and a half feet off each wall. That's each side, it's only 17 and a half feet is what we're losing space-wise. And we can still comfortably fit quite a few people in that middle space, but that will help with the two services, you know what I mean? Because it's just gonna be good. Because instead of wide swaths of empty places, we're going to feel more intimate and good. And when I challenge you, when we're done, take a minute, go look at the walls where it is, because we've removed all those side chairs, and you'll see there's still, look at this, there's still a lot of seats in here, and we can put some more in even if we need to, okay? But what we're projecting, we're not here yet, please hear me. We're not here yet, so don't everybody get all, What we'd like to see happen was within about 6-7 years, maybe even at the 5-year mark, we want to start talking about even a new worship center. This one was built, like we said, 21 years ago, okay? And so we'd like to build a new one that addresses current needs, AV, tech, seating, staging, all that kind of stuff. And yet then this can be converted into all kinds of ministry applications and meetings and all kinds of. It's my prayer that every single night of the week, something or someone is meeting here on our campus. Something has happened. Whether that's community, whether that's another ministry that's using our space, or even like Celebrate Recovery, those kinds of support groups, all kinds of ministry. We want every single day, every single night, someone to be here utilizing our space. We really can't do that now. We're limited. So this is the first step in that. By year 5, 6, 7, 8, as we start to look that way, this can be converted into a roller skating rink if we want to. All right. So again, we're not there yet. That's just vision casting. And we're going to go to 2 services. There's a lot of metrics that we need to hit first before we get there. Staffing, metrics, finances, attendance, those kinds of things. Okay? But as a pastor, I just wanted to throw that out there. So you guys know we're all on the same page. Okay? So here we're going to go over the proposal of what this baby's going to cost. Somebody want to help me pass these out? Anybody want to? Okay, thank you. All right. We can do all of this for the good old price of. No, just kidding. Yeah. Price is right, yes. Now, what we want to do is, and this is going to be, we're going to post this online. We want to give a whole week. If you have questions, you want something clarified, answered, call me, text me, I'll meet with you, whatever. If you need to meet with one of the elders, we can hit that up, or Stacy or something. We want to give you a whole week to digest this. We want you to pray about it as well, because this is your church. This is your church, okay? It's God's church, you know what I mean? Yeah, Christ is king. But we make up the body, local body here. So take a week, email us, call me, text me. I would love to sit with you. I will talk with you. I'll explain processes and all that kind of stuff. Next Sunday, well, we'll talk about next Sunday. But here's the proposal. So I told you we have $318,000 in the bank right now. This project total estimate is $250,000. That includes partial furnishing of all the new space. Hey, you guys got a picture? Did you guys get those emails of the pictures I sent you? So this is what our like the new youth room could look like internally. That's a game called Carpet Ball. It's a recreational. There could be, this is of a church in New Mexico, our home, where we used to serve in New Mexico. Their youth group does this. There's outside space with games and a fire pit and volleyball and stuff. See the front of it. There's a garage door there and stuff like that. And like the youth group, they'll have their own, like the parking lot. We're going to make that look nice so that they can go straight to their space. That's just an idea. That's not going to look just like that. It's going to be a 20 by 40 metal building with a garage door in the front with a little bit of an overhang just like that. But it will allow our youth group to not just have one room, they're going to have an entire area of our church, and that's going to be beautiful, okay? Beautiful. So this total estimate cost includes partial furnishing for the new rooms. I think we can still save some money in regards to the furnishings. We're going to we can save a lot of money if we lay the flooring ourselves in the new rooms and do the painting ourselves. But I don't want that just to be elders and staff doing it. If we did that, we'd want to get a great team of people from the church to help us out. We'll talk more about that later. But the total overall, we're looking at $250,000. We want to keep $85,000 in the savings as a contingency. That's 3 months of our budgeted expenses. So the proposal that we're proposing to the church is we spend $233,000 of our savings on this project. We fundraise $25,000 that will complete the furnishing of the new rooms. That's 10% of the projected cost. It's came up in quite a few. We want the congregation to come in and support and to help us out as well. You may think $25,000. Oh my goodness, that sounds like a lot. Gang, I've seen thousands of dollars raised pretty quickly. If we could get the equivalent of 100 families to donate $250, okay, and you can even take that over the span of 6 months, which is less than $50 a month, it's raised just like that. Just like that. You know, you may say, well, we don't have 100 families. We actually do, and we're also going to make an appeal to all the Creekers who are on our Facebook, page that have gone all over the place. Say, hey, would you like to donate anything? We'd love for you to help us out. We're in this campaign, and we'd like you to help us since you were former Creekers and stuff like that. But we'll let you guys know when we launch the fundraising campaign. And if you can't do the $250, we'll talk more about that. Give what God lays on your heart, what you feel like you can. But we'll line it out. It's going to be good. We're not going to do like a set amount. We need every person to donate. Hi, Daniel. Hey, buddy. So pray about it this week. We're going to take some questions today. But you can also ask us questions all week long. We're going to convene at the end of next service as well for an affirmation by the congregation. Okay? By the affirmation of the congregation. Because I've looked at the bylaws, and this amount is beyond a threshold that the elders can, say yay or nay. So it has to go before the congregation. So we want to do that next Sunday. Next Sunday. Questions? Yes, Lori. And I want to bring the mic because we're recording this. So
You talked about the 2 services. Please elaborate.
okay, so we're not there yet. I'll just say, I would love it by spring to start moving to the 2 services. We don't want to do it really while the construction is going on. The projected total time for this project, once we get permits pulled, is 8 to 11 months. Now, that's weeks. Good night. 8 to 11 months. Thank you. You guys are like, I'm leaving. That sounds horrible. Who are you guys using? No, 8 to 11 weeks. But we know how that is. It could go beyond. It could, if they run into stuff like that. And we're going to be using TLC Construction. The gentleman's name is Tony. Stacy and I have been in his office. Dude has scriptures plastered all over his office. He's a man of faith, you know what I mean? So we felt real cool about that too. Stacy called and called 3 companies for 3 bids. One said our project was too small for them and said nothing. And we said bye. The other one was so high, we're like, forget about it. It was just too much. So this one was right in the groove. They've been very patient with us throughout our meetings and stuff like that. So 2 services is coming, and it might be even before spring. You know what I mean? But we're praying about that, looking at it right now. I know a lot of people are asking about that. That would help out with the children's ministry as well, because people could serve in one service and attend the other one. Okay? How many want to see 2 services? Let me just see. How many want to see 2 services? Ooh, we're there. Wow. All right. So we're talking about maybe a 9 o'clock service and a 3 o'clock service is probably what we're thinking. Anybody all right? No. Plenty of time. Never mind. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. Anybody else got a question? I said, Jacob, 9 and I don't know. We'll figure that out. 11, maybe, something like that.
Just from a construction perspective, is it coming in phases? What parts start first, and then how does the overall construction?
Yes. So he gave us the list, but I want to talk to Tony. What's that? Yeah.
So, in discussing all of this, the details and whatnot with him, to do it affordably, it'll basically be all at once. Yeah. So for 8 to 11, 12 weeks or so, we're going to have tarps up in here. They know that we are still utilizing the building while they're working in it. It will be Sunday ready as it can be, with tarps hanging from the ceiling on either sides of us in here. We will do our best to make it a distraction-free worship zone for Sunday mornings during the construction process, because that is ultimately the most important thing. So it will basically be all at once.
And I'm going to stress, I'm going to with Tony again, we want that building out there to be built as fast as we can for the students. They need that space now. But again, it's not just that building. They're going to get that big room, but it would help alleviate some things if they get that building. So while things are being, and that should be quicker than even the walls, because they're going to have to do demo and stuff like that. But that's a good point. Any questions? Anyone else? My man. Yes. Oh, come over here. Huh?
What kind of flooring?
So in the rooms, there's going to be vinyl plank floorings in the new rooms. Probably just stained concrete in the building. Yeah, no carpet. No carpet. Lori?
I'd just like for you to elaborate again on how important it is the youth have their own thing because the program is wonderful, and I don't think most people know about it because they're not here on Wednesday nights to see it. Please.
Yeah, so they have, when we first got here, you guys were averaging what, a year ago? 15? And a good night, 20? Dude, there's been nights when they've had like over 30. There was one night I came in here and dude, the whole back was just like filled with students. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. And so being former youth pastors ourselves, having more than just a room, a little bitty space, you know, just when you can have something like a building to do, the kids can hang out and play games and connect and, you know, in a good biblical way, you know what I'm saying, as far as youth group goes. And then go to another space to do their worship, Bible study, and then multiple spaces to do breakout small groups. It's just awesome. And then they can go back out and hang out. Dude, we've seen it firsthand. I mean, and it's great. And before long, kids don't even want to leave because there's so much to do, and it's great. So we really, and this shows, like Stacy said, this shows our students, we're behind them, we love them, we believe in them. Yeah.
I just wanted to elaborate that with youth ministry, they grow by excitement, kind of, and so it's very like contagious, the excitement, and we're amazed at how they've grown just without having their own space. But we've been former youth pastors, so we understand the importance of once you give them their own space, they take ownership, they get excited, they tell their friends want to come. And right now they're struggling, you know, maybe to get their friends to be excited to come also, even though they're excited. There's something contagious about them having their own place, their own space that belongs to them. And we feel like youth ministry growing is a very healthy thing for a church as a whole. And so there's an important reason why we want to put emphasis on that and why we want to encourage that growth. That's already, to me, they've already done what's hard to do. And just giving them their own space is going to make it that much easier for them to multiply, grow, and have a place where their friends are also excited to come. And then we've seen people's families come because their teens are now coming. So
The stat that I learned back in school was, if I learned one thing, just kidding, I studied be a youth pastor, but if you can have a youth group ministry of 10% of what your current congregation is, then it's considered a successful youth ministry, and they've already achieved that. God's already blessed us with that, and so we just want to bless them with more. But not only that, Stacey didn't mention, but like on Sunday mornings, the bigger room will still be used by our OSO kids on Sunday mornings. For like the older kids, it'll be a room for them to be able to use. That space, that new building, we can have like anything, any type of like Bible study or group that's up to about 30 to 35 people. We can use that space for college ministry. So many possibilities. Just like one movie, the dude said, so many activities, you know, but it's not a really good movie, so I don't want to name the name. So anyway, I saw the clean version. I'll just let everybody know. Any other questions? Yes.
How is the new construction going to affect the Mother's Day program?
They're all good. MDO is good. Yeah. MDO is good. Yeah. Hey. Yes. Glad I wore my tennis shoes today.
This may have been answered. So when is construction going to start? Are we waiting until we meet the fundraising goal, or is there a set date for that?
That is, okay, so, and that's, elders were even kind of talking about that last night. We have the funds. We have the funds if we wanted to do that. We could pay for the whole thing. We could just, write a check and pay for the whole thing. But we don't want to take that approach. Well, it's very important that we keep a contingency of a minimum of 3 months in the deal. So kind of what the proposal is that we utilize our funds, get the construction going, and as we fundraise, we're not dependent upon a bank, we're not dependent upon a lending, anything like that, and so, I thought he was going to answer, yeah, you can.
So, to specifically, once we affirm this project next week, we'll go ahead and sign the papers, work with Tony. He said it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to get permits, and then 8 to 12 weeks. I keep adding weeks to the end of that, just in case. But 8 to 12 weeks after that. So we're at least 16 weeks from completion, 17 if you count this week. And so that's kind of where we're going after the Easter Festival. So it'll be under construction during Easter Festival, but it's always exciting to be able to say, come back and look and see where we're going to go. So it's not going to be a bad thing. It'll be a good thing.
Good. What's that? Yeah, Grinch party. So I'll take just a few more, and again, available all week long, guys. Please. I know this is something we don't want to just throw and say, okay. No, we want you to process. We want you to pray about it. All right, pray about it as well, because we want buy-in. We want, and especially when we do the fundraising project, the biggest way you can vote is through your wallet, debit card, checks, that kind of a thing, because this is your church, you know what I mean? It's your church. And it's one thing, we've talked about this at length. We could pay for the whole thing, but then there's no buy-in, you know what I mean? Because the majority of the money came from selling land. So what we want to know that the congregation is behind this. It's very important to us to build back, make sure we have that contingency and to complete the furnishing. So.
I was just going to mention, you mentioned something about the parking. Are we going to expand that too, or?
Well, we are going to work on that, kind of beautify that gravel lot. No. Does any of the elders want to say anything? Elders that are still here? And it's good to see Rob, my man, is here this morning. Yes, newest elder. And he's just like, I haven't talked about any of this stuff. No, just kidding. Yeah. Welcome to the crew, Rob. No. Brian? No. Shane? Today? Jeff was here? There he is. Jeff, do you want to say anything? Okay. Any of the staff want to say? Jake had to take Jordan to the airport for a trip. So, Elizabeth, want to say anything? No? Okay. All right. So listen, guys, we're available. We want to talk about this. Okay. If you have any question at all, I want to help answer your questions. Okay. I want to help answer anything, any concerns you have, anything like that. So, okay. So I want to pray right now. Sound good? Lord, I just thank you. I thank you for that verse, Lord. Surely there is a future. And Lord, we have such an amazing future with you. And Lord, even though, and I've known people, Lord, believers who this life is hard, and they experience just hardship after hardship after hardship. But I thank you for what the Apostle Peter writes, that nothing that we go through on this earth is going to compare to what you have ready for us, Lord. Our future is glorious with you, and we're looking forward to that. Lord, I just pray, God, a dedication right now for this whole year. Pray that your will would be done here in this body of believers. Create a hunger and a thirst for you, Jesus. A hunger and a thirst for you. And do what you want to do in and through us, I pray. In Jesus' name, amen. Yes? Oh, you don't want a mic. Okay. Okay, got it. So, yeah, that's good. It's not set up yet, but we'll have it available online this week. If you already want to start to give to Grow in the Future, you can. Okay, online giving. That was a little meeting. That's good. What? Grow in the Future? I don't care. Yeah, Grow in the Future. Grow to our future. Or just straight building campaign. I mean, we don't have, we just put whatever. When you see on there, it'll be on there. You'll notice that. Yes, Melissa? Yeah. Yeah. So the elders and staff have. Yeah. Well, we're contracted with TLC, and Tony's going to handle all of that. Yeah. Oh, you know him? He's good? Awesome. So we're not going to be handling bids and all that estimates, and all this stuff's coming straight from him. So we're simplifying it, and we're just one-on-one, and then he'll subcontract and all that kind of. But it's a good question. Yeah, because we could have, there's an approach that does take that. So, but that's where we feel confident that he'll handle all of it. So, cool. All right, Grinch party. Oh, okay.
That concludes the business meeting, and since you're all here, it is time for our annual.